Good evening, citizens. I'm your host, Chor, and I would like to welcome you all to the pilot episode of our new conversational series, In the Director's Chair. Tonight, I'm pleased to inform you that we will be joined by a rising star in the universe of Machinima. He has charmed, amused, frightened, and delighted us with his debut series entitled Silky Lips. It all began 1 year ago with the simple story of a young citizen living in the far reaches of the universe, working in a secluded mining outpost. Over time, this tale developed spectacularly into a myriad of memorable episodes, full of exploration, adventure, humour, suspense, and sometimes even a storyline. His latest piece, Charlene, is critically acclaimed as his best work to date, for which he was nominated for and awarded with the coveted prize of a couple of YouTube likes. In the Director's Chair is proud to say that you will find him with us here today. Please join me in welcoming Lord Porksword.
Right, man.
Take a seat, Lord. Thanks for joining us here. So let's start at the beginning. Tell me, when did you first become a citizen and why?
Way back in the day, I was an amateur arena designer for tournament games. These tournaments were totally unreal. But eventually I retired from this type of work and started looking for my next challenge. When I saw the UEE call for the citizenship scheme, I signed up straight away. I remember being honoured with a special golden ticket and still wondering to this day what to do with it. This was back during those dark times before Contanium fuel became available. I tell you, there's nothing sadder than seeing your ship sitting in the hangar with no way to take off.
What were you doing in the verse before you became a machinimist?
Let's see, I did lots of wandering around checking out all the sights and delights that Stanton had to offer, hoping the universe wouldn't implode or have my ship blow up for no reason. Back then I stole quite a few ships when something better than mine was delivered to a nearby landing pad. You see, back in those days security was a little lax, so one could, just wander over and take any ship they wanted. Let's just say that I got to fly all the ships back in those days. So I messed around with things like that for quite a few years. Eventually I started earning credits via various ways such as bounty hunting, cargo runs, mining and shooting bad guys. More recently during my travels I saw a recruiting video for an organisation named Elite Expeditionary. Whilst I had no intention of signing up, I thought the editing and the visuals of that video were pretty bloody cool. Next thing I know, the same director had started a series named Overclock. Seeing I really dig sci-fi shows, this series was right down my alley. Love the show, it's very, very cool. So, soon after watching this, another series grabbed my attention named Adrift, which is also very well done. Let's say I like a good old-fashioned story based in space. Still waiting for Adrift episode 2 though. So after watching these, I became quite inspired by the work of both directors and thought it'd be cool to write and film my own sci-fi story. So here I am now.
What have been your most memorable moments while filming the series?
Well, at times, some things didn't go according to plan. And I can tell you, there's been a lot of times when that happened. I do remember a rather painful time when the actors and I collected some contraband for a scene on Eta. We had to collect it from Hurston, but the bloody anti-air defence security system wasn't correctly identifying our ship and kept trying to shoot us down. So due to that, we had to land quite a fair distance away. Now this meant we had to use those hand tractor beams to move the contraband out from the bunker over to the ship, which could be quite time consuming, I tell you.
So, was this contraband legal?
Look, let's not get into that right now. Well, not ever actually. Hey, I'm a guy who likes realism, okay? If my art needs real contraband to make it authentic, then that's what it needs.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're moving all this contraband across the surface of Hurston. I tell you what, you'd think that planet was a bloody junkie with the amount of maize it sucked into the soil. I reckon we started with about 30 boxes that night and only 8 ever made it to the ship. So great. There goes my grand idea of having a cool shot of a cargo hold full of the good stuff. But hey, you got to work with what you got, right? Now, before you think it ended there, we're filming at the wreck site on Eta and bugger me dead, that bloody moon starts eating all the contraband as well. Anything dropped on the ground? Gone. Finger slips off the multi-tool trigger and the box falls to the ground? Gone. If you dropped any Vandal red on that soil that day, you might as well just go straight to rehab because you ain't getting that back. I'll tell you what, that moon swallowed so much maize that day I'm surprised it didn't drift out of orbit.
Wow. Sounds like things can get pretty interesting during filming.
Yeah, they sure do. It's especially annoying when you're mid-quantum jump and one of the bloody actors decides to use the ship elevator for some dumb reason and gets himself ejected into open space. I had to instigate a rule that if you're stupid enough to use the elevator mid-jump, then you take off your helmet afterwards and get ready to regenerate, and then find your own way back to the set.
It doesn't sound like you have a high regard for some of your talent.
No, not at all. Seriously though, working with all the actors has been quite a bit of fun. I remember quite a bit of shenanigans going on whilst filming my most recent episode, number 7, Charlene. Papa was wearing that infamous Hurston outfit dragging one of the body props around. Honestly, he looked like some kind of dirty pervert. Even my kids witnessed it and I was thinking, crikey, what am I teaching them? But we all got a good laugh in the end, so it was all good. I really enjoy working with Papa, SL and Lucky in particular. There are some really incredibly talented, creative, intelligent and downright awesome personalities.
Well, I'm glad you said all that because it just so happens that we have Lucky here with us today via satellite. Lucky, what's the best part about working with the Lord?
Well, thanks for having me, Anne. I like his relaxed approach to filming and he's very open to my ad-libbing, which is good. He acts like he's a professional, but we all know he's really bluffing. Hey! Well, one thing I'd say is he does keep telling me to tone it down just in case we get banned from me saying something a little bit too naughty. Then, I suppose his attitude of bugger it, I'll make that take work, and you only get one take to do it, can always lead to interesting results, but we get there in the end. Look, we're not experts here, but we enjoy what we do, and that's the important part. The only thing I don't like is when I'm asked to help with performing mining duties to help pay for all the required props and ships. Sometimes it's like 2 weeks straight of mining before we even begin shooting. I feel like he's using me as a slave sometimes. Well, I know he has a bit of trouble wrangling up some of the other actors on occasion, which drags things on a bit. Can be sort of annoying sometimes. So hard to quickly get talent on board for a project of this scale that many times the director has had to resort to using his own children as actors. They've got no idea what they're doing sometimes, doesn't really direct them properly. He just sort of says, I'll just do this. And yeah, so I don't blame him. No training and zero interest in participating. The only thing going for them is that they're free. Try and get someone who's not being paid to take their job seriously and turn up on time. It's almost like herding cats.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Lucky. Your input has been enlightening. In breaking news, we have just heard that rumours are circulating of an unsettling new extremist group called the Cult of the Universal Reset, also known as the 30Ks.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those guys. They sound a little cray-cray to me, if you get my drift. What is it? Something about the universe has just been reset and no one even realises it and just goes on with their day like nothing has happened? Crazy talk, I tell ya. Weirdly enough though, I reckon that'd explain a few times why all my credits have disappeared from my bank accounts for no reason.
How do you respond to allegations that this movement is being spearheaded by one of your actors?
Hey, what my actors get up to during their private time is not my responsibility. If they want to mine naked, well, go mine naked. If they want to betray me and star in a commercial about the Ares Infernos, then so be it. Start up your own cult? Well, why not? Look, as long as they don't try and recruit on set, it's okay, because we all know that'd be a dick move.
Another actor has raised serious concerns regarding health and safety violations. Is it true that your talent are forced to endure numerous regeneration cycles just to make a single episode?
Well, there was that one incident where we had to keep pushing Clarice out the airlock many times to try and get the right shot. She was just dying too quickly all the time. Look, she's an actor and she should know how to act better. Honestly, I think my actors have got it pretty good, really. They're all happy and satisfied with how I run things on set.
Well, it just so happens that we have SL with us live in studio to dispute your claims. SL, or should I call you Silky, take a seat. What do you want to say to the Lord?
You can call me Silky, SL, or whatever you want, as long as you call me.
You can rest assured that I won't be calling you, ever. Besides, I have assistance for that. Back to the question at hand. What do you want to say to the Lord about these serious allegations of health and safety violations?
Well, to be honest, Lord, suffocating bloody hurts. We're all feeling for Clarice that day when you kept making her die over and over. I felt traumatised after that day of filming. It was even worse than the time you made me act whilst my leg was breaking, mate. Not cool, Lord. Not cool. Look, I thought you were method acting that day, Silky. Nah, mate. I wasn't bloody method acting. The other actors also wanted me to say that that one take only shot puts a lot of pressure on us, Lord. Maybe at least try to take 2 takes for every shot next episode, okay? Point taken, Sookie Lips. Did you just call me Sookie? Yeah, nah, I'm sure I said Silky. Bugger this interview. Oh, maybe I went too far. Up yours, Lord.
I must say, Lord, I do find it remarkable how similar your voice is to SL and Lucky. It's almost like you are the same person, just with a slight change in pitch.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now, isn't it? Okay, I admit, this is a one-man show where I do all the writing, filming and editing, as well as acting in multiple roles.
So, how are all of you here in the studio today?
Well, that's just the magic of editing, baby.
Interesting. That actually explains a lot. I thought Papa sounded familiar. A bit like you, but with your testicles being squeezed by a spacesuit that's far too tight.
Oh, come on, it's a height of fashion.
Debatable. So will you continue to do most of the acting in the future? If so, how many ways can you change your voice before everyone sounds the same?
Well, fortunately, I don't need to worry about that. I have a couple of new additional actors who have come on board now to help out with the series. Plus, the kids were impressed with how things turned out in the early episodes, so they're a bit more keener these days. All I need to do is bribe them with their favourite cold bevy, and they're on board.
Well, it sounds like you now have a dedicated team behind you ready to sign on for another season. What are your plans for the future of the show?
So the first 6 episodes of Silky Lips were a single story arc about a simple citizen who had no experience interacting with the universe around him. He was abruptly launched into a situation eventuating in his first space adventure, kind of like how I started as a citizen, really. At some stage in the nearish future, I'd actually like to go back and recut the original story arc down into a shorter single movie. After producing 7 episodes, I've learnt quite a lot, and when I look back, there's a few rough parts in the early episodes which I think I could have done much better. It'd be kind of cool to recut and reshoot a thing or two and produce a more compact story.
At least that finally puts to rest the rumours that there is no storyline.
But before undertaking anything like that, I'll be looking into a quick trailer to introduce a new character who will appear in the next episode of Silky Lips. He's resourceful, but a bit of a player. The Charlene episode was more of a short movie for me, and it was highly inspired by many sci-fi and horror movies I've watched over the years. This is why I filmed it like a mini-movie. It was a special storyline that paid homage to the classics. My next episode will be what I consider the start of Season 2. I'm happy to report that my favourite Machinimist Lord creative director of the Overclock series has agreed to let me work with his best actor Ava, who will have a cameo role in Episode 8. I'm greatly honoured and looking forward to this collaboration with Netronics and Ava.
Well, you heard it here first. Sounds exciting. Definitely something to look forward to. Thank you, Lord, for sharing with us today. I appreciate you speaking so candidly about your journey. And that brings us to the end of our program. Join us next time when I sit down with acclaimed machinimist Netronics, creator of the hit series Overclocked, when we take a seat in the director's chair.